I read a verse yesterday from one of my favorite books, and I thought uh, I would start with that. But, uh, but before I do that, I just wanted to welcome everybody once again. Thank you for being here, your presence, your voice, uh, your energies. We receive all of it, and it emboldens us. We live in a challenging world where a lot of young people are flying around like airplanes without a navigation system, and they are crashing, or they will crash at some point, into a world of frustration, anger, sadness, despair, unless we do something about it. Our goal is really to help young people navigate and to find peace in the world. You know, everything once was just a thought, just like IC3. This table, this conference room, this hotel, chairs, airplanes, everything was just a thought. It all started with a thought. Most often, those initial thoughts were outrageous thoughts. But there are also some very simple thoughts that have manifested into reality. Somebody thought about flying. The whole world initially was very scared of flying. We had those bags for people who threw up in airplanes, very common. Nobody uses it these days, really. I mean, very few people throw up in an airplane. But it was a common phenomenon. I don't know why they still carry it. I mean, they should just have one if you need it. I mean, that's a little weight off the plane. But everything was once just a thought, including you and me. I was just a thought. My parents thought they want to have a child. The reality, between the reality was something else. There were words spoken. So thoughts were followed by words. So my parents would have thought that they want to have a child. They would have said to each other, and they would have spoken Hindi, that we think we should have a third child. I said, okay. After you speak words, you take some action. And so they took some action. And after you take action, you have reality. And now Ganesh is a reality. You can't get rid of it. But it all starts with a thought. And IC3 was just a thought. And that thought was followed by words. That thought was articulated, and we took some action, and this is the reality. So congratulations to all of us who thought the thought, and we've manifested this reality. You know, they told me, my parents named me Ganesh, which was G-A-N-I-S-H. I am in Maharashtra, and they did not understand what this name meant, so they removed the I and made me Ganesh in school very early. I didn't know what the consequence of this would be, but I subsequently learned that Ganesh is the remover of obstacles, and my job for the rest of my life was to remove obstacles. So every time I walked into any office, especially some of my principal friends around the world, around the country, I know the tendency was to discuss the problem for 20 minutes and the solution for the next 2 minutes. And we turned it on our head at IC3. We said, we only discuss problems for 30 seconds. We only discuss the obstacles for 30 seconds out of 30 minutes. The remaining 29 minutes, we discuss solutions. And we know there is a problem. We know that we are in a broken system. We know that there isn't career and college counseling in 170,000 plus schools in this part of the world alone. We know this problem exists now in other countries. Our friend Kubi is here from New Zealand, and I can tell you many other countries here. Everybody says, Ganesh, we have a problem. It's not good enough to let people out with good math and English. And we've got to fix this. And we decided that we'll fix it. We know the problems are many. We know the obstacles are many. But we are going to be unrelenting. And what we've manifested today through this gathering here is actually very, very special to all of us on the IC3 committees. I love some of these sayings. This is Rumi. If you are irritated by every rub, how will you be polished? We continue to deal with all kinds of challenges, and we are choosing not to be bogged down. And we are choosing to be different. I just want to commit to you that IC3 will never become elite, special, a closed body. We are an open platform. We're for everybody who needs help. IC3 is not for the rich kid going abroad. IC3 is for every kid. IC3 is for the bottom 5% of your students, the bottom 50% of your students. Yes, we appreciate all the work. We treat this planet as our home. We do not treat any country, any university, any individual, any organization. We do not place any of these above the general good. So we're really here, we are here talking about inclusion, and we really want to include everybody. Every school, every kid. I know so many times we marinate in the successes of the top 1% of our students. IC3 is encouraging schools to start to look at the bottom 10%, because I belong to that category. I failed in my 5th grade in Hindi, and my mother was a Hindi teacher. And I want you to know that it is very important that we acknowledge this, and from our perspective, we are ready to go into deeper pockets. We've gone to Baramati in Maharashtra, Erode in Tamil Nadu. We've gone to Ranchi, Raipur. We are going where nobody else is going. So yes, we will be in Mumbai and Delhi for our conferences, and Bangalore and Chennai and Hyderabad and Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh and Auckland and wherever else. But we are going to go to every corner that needs us. And that's the mandate of IC3. You know, I've always asked myself this: is self-conservation, if self-interest was the primary goal, we've gone past the world of survival. We were hunter-gatherers at some point in our lives. You know, the sapiens and, you know, the Neanderthals, and we can go back in our history. Survival was the only issue. We are a privileged generation, and really who we are defined by today is what we do for others. And IC3 was really born and has served people. The one-year certificate program that the IC3 Institute does costs nothing, zero. 4 weeks of accommodation, meals, year-long online classes, 1 year of training, it costs nothing. The IC3 regional forums cost nothing for high school delegates. Our university guests, I want to express my gratitude to all of you and all of our organizational delegates, all of our sponsors. Without you, we could not have done it. So thank you. We need a big round of applause for all our university guests, sponsors. But really, for these 2 days, let's have the conversation around sharing. The Buddha talked about it. And let me tell you, the rewards of sharing are very, very sweet. One inspired student can bring 10. One disappointed, bad fit student will stop 10. You recruit 10 great students, you're going to get 100. You recruit 10 bad students who are not a good fit, it's going to take years for you to build that country again. So if we can come into this environment and really share, there is a whole world out there that's transacting, that's commoditized, as Dr. Barry Craig said, young people. If we can now start to look at these people as human beings and find solutions where we can help them to make good decisions and really serve and share what we've got, I think we'll make a big difference. I love this saying, diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance. And we really want to include everybody. And we are not exclusive. We have been told that we have kept some people out and that independent councillors weren't allowed, etc. I just want to make sure that every one of us knows here today that when IC3 was established, the principals came along and said something very clearly. They said, this is about empowering schools. We need to find every possible way of empowering schools. We want to create powerhouses within schools. And therefore, we decided to limit the IC3 platform to full-time school employees, full-time university employees, and some selected organizational delegates. However, this was not done out of any arrogance or any malice or any ill will. I myself was an independent councillor. And I truly respect and honor the work that independent councillors do, the gap that they have filled over the last many years, and we are trying to find solutions so that they can contribute to the movement. We have specifically invited some to attend the conference. We are having those conversations, and we want that wisdom to come here. But we do not want this platform to be a place for selling services of independent counseling and schools outsourcing counseling. That is not the solution we are going for. And therefore, and I say to any school principal who tells me, Ganesh, but we've hired a counselor from here and there, I said, why don't you also then outsource your math teaching and possibly even outsource the principal's job and the English teaching job? This, just because counseling we don't get marks for it, doesn't mean that we don't include that function. Maths gets students marks and it looks, but this is a critical function. So I really want to assure all of our independent counseling friends all around the world who will watch this video that we love you. We care about the work that you do, but we are also worried about the thousands and thousands of others who operate to disempower schools. Our mission is to empower schools and to empower students, and we are finding ways, and we will do through this conference and over the next few months and years. I'm going to skip a couple of slides because I'm really now getting to a point where the reason we had the opening is the person who's going to speak after me. She is my favorite. Very few people in our community know her as well, but I don't want to take away too much of her time. I want to listen to those 20 minutes. I could not have expressed my gratitude for every volunteer. I don't want to name anybody here. I think each one of us has made his or her own contribution. But the biggest volunteer is that in my life that I know that I have to acknowledge is my wife. She lets me do what I do. She showed me the path of love, of mindfulness, of meditation. She made me the man. I would not be half the person I am, and IC3 would not exist had it not been for Dr. Preeti Kohli, who also happens to be my wife. So my gratitude to her, because I really was a brash, angry man when I got married. I was this go-getter who wanted to conquer the world. And I had better sense that came to me after January 2003. And I hope that we had a regional forum in Kathmandu last year at our anniversary. Every anniversary we are getting regional forums. Looks like we're going to end up spending all our anniversaries with some IC3 host school. But it's going to be number 17 coming up, and I don't know which city. I know there's a regional forum. I think it's again Kathmandu, Nepal. I don't know. There is something there. So gratitude to all those who serve the mission. Thank you. And the Buddha said, Chareveti, Chareveti, keep walking, keep walking. Let us not really worry about what lies ahead for us, how much we will accomplish. These numbers seem very outrageous and audacious, but it doesn't really matter. You know, we said we'll be 1,200 or 1,000 people. We ended up with 950. We will keep being audacious. We are going to keep being ambitious, and we will do our best, and we'll keep walking. So we keep walking on this path, and that's really what it is. I also wanted to share that the movement's grown enough. There are 3 distinct pieces with the IC3 movement now. And while I helped found this movement and I continue to play a role, there are 3 distinct areas. There is the IC3 annual conference that we are here for. There are the IC3 regional forums, and there is the IC3 Institute. We have separate leadership that is taking charge of each of these functions. We had recently a director for the IC3 Institute, Dr. Ragini Mohanty, who has been in the role just for about a month and a half. But we realized that organizing this conference, and next year we could be, you know, I don't know, 2,000 people possibly. There are enough schools. There are tens of thousands of schools that need help. We realized that we needed leadership. We needed fresh ideas. I know that I was at my best when I was 22. And as I get older, I get outdated as well. And so with that in mind, I'm happy to tell you that I will have a co-chair for the annual IC3 conference 2020. And this will also be the chair-elect for the annual IC3 conference 2021. I will continue to be the chair for the annual conference for 2020. But this gentleman will take over, hopefully, as the chair of the 2021 conference. I just wanted you to be introduced to him, and he can stand up and say a big hi. His name is Jim McLaughlin. I love what Lao Tzu says. He says, when the leader is forgotten, the work is done. And all of this attention and love, while I receive it with all humility, the day I am forgotten, IC3's work will be done. And that is really what each one of us need to set to do. In our regions, in our schools, in our communities, if we can really inspire people to bring career and college counseling. I close with this verse. Okay, I have one more slide. We are in the process of establishing a public charity in the US and a trust in India. IC3 is doing more and more philanthropic kind of work, and we expect that we will have donors who will support the movement. Come find out about it. The IC3 Institute is going to be that trust that will really provide free training. We want to be the Khan Academy for career and college counseling. For school employees, you can have that. And then find ways to teach, to support the institute, and find ways to volunteer. You could be the change that you want to see in the world outside. The verse that I wanted to end with was the 27th verse from the Tao Te Ching, Wayne Dyer's book, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. A knower of the truth travels without leaving a trace, speaks without causing harm, gives without keeping an account. The door he shuts, though having no lock, cannot be opened. The knot he ties, though using no cord, cannot be undone. Be wise and help all beings impartially, abandoning none. Waste no opportunities. This is called following the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If the teacher is not respected and the student not cared for, confusion will arise, however clever one is. This is the great secret. Thank you very much.